No, thank you. Sleepy. Come back in an hour.
Need sleepy.
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God!
It's now time for the Billy C. Morning Show, part of the Billy C. Boxing Network. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
Yeah, right. We're coming to you live from the Billy C. Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C. Morning Show. Fan-driven Friday, boys and girls. Today's show, she's being brought to you by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located in beautiful St. Simons Island, Georgia. The Golden Isles of Georgia, if you will. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria. Find out why I told a couple of people last night that they better take the 15 minutes out of their way going south, to heading south to Florida, to Augustine, St. Augustine, Florida. And I said, you better swing by and see my man Sal. And I gave him his card, and they're going to do so in the next week as they drive down. So you do the same. Find out why it's worth the 15-minute out your way of I-95. Give them a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. And remember, if you mention the show, you're going to get a cannoli, as long as you buy something. You know, you got to buy something in there. You can't just go in for the cannoli. Buy a pizza or two, or get one of the dinners. They're great. Check out the website. You'll see what I mean. www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Today's show is also being brought to you in part by the Billy C. Triple G Kell Brook post-fight show tomorrow. That's right. It's going to be on as soon as the fight is over. Now, don't forget, the fight's coming to us live on HBO from England. So it's going to kick off around 5 p.m. Eastern time. And as soon as the official announcement is made with the winner, you can tune it in right here on BillyCBoxing.com, on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkinboxing, TalkinBoxing, or on Fight TV and the app for your handheld devices, Fight.tv. That's Fight, F-I-T-E.tv. And I think LDL TV is going to simulcast us too. So a lot of places to watch the post-fight show. And, of course, we open up the phone lines to get your thoughts. So make sure you're part of those reindeer games. And speaking of phone lines, we're going to be opening them up today too. Oh, and don't forget today's show. You thought I was going to forget, right? Today's show is brought to you in part by my book. What, you don't have a copy? You don't have a copy of my book? The hell's wrong with you, man? Go right now. You can get a copy right now as you're watching this. BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon.com. You can get an electronic version, Kindle, Nook. Any of those places have a copy of Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. You didn't get a copy yet, so go get a copy. Come on, man. Get a copy. Find out why it's a must-read. Find out why I'm trying to get history written correctly. Tom Molyneux's in the history books. He's just not in there where he's supposed to be. Tom Molyneux is a piece of American history. It's a piece of boxing history, but most importantly, it's a piece of black American history. Find out why this guy got screwed during his lifetime and is still getting screwed because of the color of his skin. That's the only reason. Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet. I promise you, you will love the book, and it's a quick read. Once you start reading it, you can't put it down. I can't even put it down, and I wrote it. So check it out. And if you want a signed copy, just go to our website, www.BillyCBoxing.com, and click on the book club section, and you can follow the directions there. And while you're in the book club section, you can see some other great reads that I highly recommend. Triple G, Kell Brook, final thoughts. We're going to be talking about that today. We're going to open up the phone lines a little bit later, so once I say they're open, then start calling, because we're not going to take the calls yet. My picks, my football picks. I'm going to give you that. I'm 3 for 3. What did I tell you last night? For all you guys, I told you, don't bet on the Panthers-Broncos game. I called it what? Come on, boys and girls. What did I call it? I called it a trap game, and it certainly was. Joining me right now is my man, Sal. Rocky Senecola. What's up, Sal?
Billy C, I'm going to try and get a list from you for this weekend. I'm telling you. You're a psychic, man. You predicted that to the T.
Psychic
Max Williams and I were looking at that the game last night. Unbelievable.
I'm a psychic or I'm a psychotic. I don't know. I get those two confused.
Not the latter.
I get those two confused. But no, you know what? Listen, I was watching the game. It was a great game. And, who would have thought that the quarterback for the Broncos would have had such a decent game? Everything says in that game they got a guy that never he took one snap in the NFL, and it was a kneel down, okay? And he's starting quarterback for the Broncos, the defending Super Bowl champs. They have a solid defense, and they're going against a team that arguably is the best team in the NFL, in the Carolina Panthers, with the stud of a quarterback in Cam Newton. And everything says Cam Newton's going to win that game, especially since he's been brooding over losing to the Broncos in the Super Bowl since January. And you say to yourself, oh, he's got to beat him. He's going to slay him. Nay. I said, I don't know, man. And you know what? And I'll give you a little tidbit. A lot of people thought that it was going to be one of two things: either an extremely low-scoring game or an extremely high-scoring game. I know that sounds, sometimes it falls in the middle. Well, check this out, a little FYI for you. Remember I said it's a trap game? Well, yes. The over on the game was 41.5 points. The final total was 41. That means anyone that bet the over lost by a half a point. They lost because it hit 41. Now, anybody that bet the under won. But anyway, tough game to pick to kick off the NFL season. I got my thoughts on some other games that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But today's Fan Driven Friday, Sal, and I got a slew of emails. Before we get started, I kind of want to give everyone our final thoughts on the Triple G Kell Brook fight. And, the truth of the matter is we've been talking about it a lot. And I just, I wanted to ask you before I read some emails, do you have any change of heart? Are you pretty much sticking to your guns of what you've been saying for the last several weeks about this fight? I mean, what's your quick final thoughts on the Triple G Kell Brook fight tomorrow night?
Well, my quick final thoughts, Billy, I'll tell you, it's going to be a good fight, an entertaining fight. Kell Brook is going to rise to the occasion. He's going to move, he's going to hit, he's going to try to surprise Triple G where he can, and he's going to try to avoid the heavy cannons when he can, as he can. But the truth of the matter is, Triple G is not only a great ring technician, effective boxer puncher, and an overall well-seasoned fighter, but the more I look at a lot of his films, he's just a precision puncher. He punches with an effective delivery, and he's very, very much deliberate in his punches. And he goes from the body to the head. He doesn't just throw punches. He throws them with a purpose, and they land effectively. And I think in the end, there's going to be exchanges. There's going to have they're going to have the moments of the heated exchanges. And I just see Triple G coming out on top. And my prediction is it's going to be a couple of entertaining, good rounds. But I think Triple G is going to stop Kell Brook and knock him out between the 6th and the 8th round. I don't think it's going to go to 12.
Listen, we tried to play devil's advocate earlier in the week.
We did.
The team Triple G said they're genuinely concerned with the size of Kell Brook, and no disrespect to Kell Brook, he certainly has put on the weight and have become, in my opinion, a legitimate middleweight. There's no question about that he's a legitimate middleweight at this point, and I still don't think he's going to go back down to welter, but we'll see. But I think you're right. I think that pretty much what you said, Triple G is going to systematically break down Kell Brook. He may have a feel-out round in round number 1, but I think he's going to shift right into gear and break down Kell Brook and eventually stop him. I agree with you that I do not think the fight will go the distance. despite Kell Brook having some advantages, like being 4 years younger, being in his hometown, et cetera, it's not going to matter. Triple G is going to prove why, like you said, he's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today. And we're going to see why, and Kell Brook is going to find out why nobody wants to fight this guy. I mean, that's the truth.
And that's what you just said. I mean, Triple G has literally, at all times and any times, come out and say, I will fight anybody. And there's just nobody that wants to step into the ring with this guy. And that's why Kell Brook is in a no-lose situation. My hat's off to him. And, he's entering this fight with the real confidence that he knows it. He knows he's going to go to war. He knows it's going to be a great battle. He's going to give his best effort. But he knows at the end of the day, win, lose, or draw, he's in a damn good position, and he put a lot of money in his bank account.
This is true, and he's got a lot of support from the UK. They love the fact that the world sees that Kell Brook manned up. And literally manned up.
Literally, forever. I will appreciate that.
You can't win, lose, or draw. You can't deny that. And he's doing something that many other fighters, whether they're active today or recently retired, have not done. So anyway, it's Fan Driven Friday. We got a bunch of emails. Let's get this started so we can open up the phone lines. This first one is from Jesse. He says, "Hey Billy C, I agree that if Triple G knocks out Brooks, then it was supposed to happen, and if he loses, then he never was good after all. I can't believe that they are pumping this fight like it's like as if it's a big name fighters. The only big name here is Triple G in the boxing world, and Brooks is hoping to get his name big with a win. Eddie Hearns keeps mentioning that Triple G is nervous, and I don't believe that. I think it's just pumping up the fight." He's got a couple other thoughts, but I disagree with Jesse. Very rarely do I disagree, but I disagree with the fact that Kell Brook isn't a big name, because he certainly is. Not only is he huge on his side of the pond, but he's pretty popular here in the United States. So I disagree with Jesse. I do agree that they're trying to pump it up as much as they can, not because they need to sell tickets, because the thing has been sold out, and they're going to get some great views on through HBO. But hey, it's just called promotion, something that I enjoy and respect. He says, "What's your thoughts on Mark Magsayo and his progression? He called out Oscar Valdez and hopes to face him in the near future." Magsayo is a good fighter. I mean, Chris Avelis was his biggest win to date. My thoughts on this is simple. I don't mind, Sal, when a young fighter, especially on the upswing, calls out a bigger name and wants to prove himself, wants to challenge himself and prove that he's deserving to be in a big fight. I'm okay with if that's the backdrop. But if the backdrop is just to get a payday, I'm not okay with it, because it doesn't help either side. What do you think?
Exactly. I feel the same way. I share your thoughts 100%.
If they're just looking to get a payday, like Jarrell Baby Miller, this is a guy pounding his chest saying he's the best heavyweight. We all know that he's a fraud, and he's going to get a payday and then go back to selling ice cream or whatever he does. So I don't know. Anyway.
Well, and that's exactly what's happening here. He knows, maybe in his heart of hearts, he's never going to be a world champion, or maybe he's not going to have the fire to even rise to that level. But, let me pound my chest. Let me market myself. Let me get out there and see what I can do. Hey, you know what? In his mind, if he has that warrior mentality and he thinks he's going to be the champion and this and that, well, let's see. Let's see if his body can follow what his mind is saying.
Exactly. Jesse also says, do you see any welterweight that can move up to light middleweight division and stay there for a long period of time and dominate? I noticed that fighters win the belt there, but then they move back down to welterweight. Don't really see currently any welterweight that's a true junior middleweight. All these weight classes and the way they drain, and I think the weight division, Sal, would be a lot more solid and definable if we had same-day weigh-ins, because what you'd end up having is a guy that weighs in at 147 as a welterweight for a fight even if he hydrates a couple of pounds, if he weighs in the morning and the fight is that evening, you're still going to have a guy around 147 pounds. You're not going to see guys like Canelo Alvarez who weigh in at 154 and then weigh 180 during fight night. I mean, you're just not going to see that with same-day weigh-ins.
No, you're not. And boy, I wish they would go back to same-day weigh-ins. I'll tell you. That was my era, and I loved it, and it was great because we all had to sacrifice and do it, and you were closer to that weight by the time maybe 12 hours later you had to step in the ring.
Exactly. Thanks for the email, Jess. We got another one. This one's from Alex T., the other Alex, the real Alex T. He says, hey, Billy C., did someone really question Bobby Chacon's level of competition in an email on your show yesterday? Did I imagine that? He says, I'm speechless. I damn near had a stroke when you read that email. I love that we have younger fans that are passionate, but I love to see them read more books, not websites, and watch these great fights from beginning to the end with some of these legends. I think you really need to be educated on the history of boxing to appreciate how amazing this sport once was and why we are missing out today. I'd compare someone like Israel Vasquez to Bobby Chacon's in terms of guts, fearlessness, and the ability to absorb incredible amounts of punishment. But in all due respect to Israel Vasquez, Chacon fought guys like Ruben Olivares, Alexis Arguello, two of the greatest boxers that ever lived, Torsten Bazooka Lyman, Danny Lopez, Boza Edwards, and I think you'd find few fighters in the last 100 years who fought tougher competition. And he fought some of these guys multiple times. I didn't even mention that he fought Ray Mancini. Aside from Ali and Robinson, I don't know anyone off the top of my head that I can say for sure that fought tougher competition than Bobby Chacon. I'd rather read a book about Bobby Chacon than watch a Mayweather fight any day of the week. Great point. There's not much I can add to that. I think Alex T pretty much covered it all. I can't say I disagree with anything he said. What do you think?
No, not at all. I think, that covered it all. And you're talking about a warrior's mentality. Bobby Chacon brought it to the ring every time. And that's why he was exciting. That's why he would always pull upon his insides and his guts and his determination. And that's what you see in a fighter. It's not always that they have to win, but it's when they're down or when they're behind that they can reach in deep and they can pull it out and they can hang in there and they could overcome any adversity. That's a fighter, overcoming adversity and coming up on top and doing it at a level of performance that not too many other people can follow. That's why you're very special. That's why you become a special fighter, and that's why you become somebody that people are going to remember.
This is pretty funny. I'm looking at the next email, and these two guys have the same exact name. Now this is the other Alex T. All right. And he says, hey, Billy C. and Sal, no way should Triple G get credit for beating Kell Brook, other than the fact that a good big man always beats a good little man. This has been a tried and tested proof. You have the so-called number one pound for pound fighting a guy who's coming up 2 weight classes. Let's take a stroll down memory lane when Mayweather, who was still then number one pound for pound prior to retiring, came back and fought Marquez, the number one lightweight at the time. I looked at the articles on several boxing sites and journals in which Mayweather was criticized for fighting Marquez. I also just watched a post-fight interview video from Mayweather Marquez with Max Kellerman, Larry Merchant, and all the pundits all went in on Floyd for fighting a former super lightweight champ. Till this day, Floyd has not gotten full credit for beating Marquez, and neither should Triple G. The only person who will be getting credit for this fight is Kell Brook. Will he pull it off like the welterweight Ray Robinson was at the time when he beat Jake LaMotta? That remains to be seen. Good point.
Very good point.
The bottom line is Mayweather has been criticized for fighting Marquez, and I think what's good for one is good for the other. I think that the difference here, first of all, the point that the other Alex says. Is well taken, that Floyd didn't get the credit. But I think that the one difference, and maybe we shouldn't say it, but it's fact, is that, nobody nobody avoids Floyd Mayweather. Everybody wants to fight. Floyd cherry picks him, or bad choice of words. I accused him of cherry picking, but Floyd chooses who he fights. It's sort of like hitting a lotto if you're that opponent. Triple G, no one is in that line to fight. I mean, everybody wants to fight Floyd. Nobody's in the, you say, okay, we need 2 lines here.
Yeah.
The one on the left is for people that want to fight Floyd Mayweather, and the one on the right is the people that want to fight Triple G. And the one on the left wraps around the block 40 times, and the one on the right has got, Ray Charles in line. He thought he was in the other line, So I don't know, but I got to give Alex T, the other Alex T, credit. I think he makes a great point. What do you think?
Oh, I think he makes a great point. It's very true. And, there's another thing we really haven't spoken too much about, along with what Alex was saying. But here we do have these 2 undefeated fighters entering the ring with the belts that they have always put on the line. And what I think about when you see, and I don't mean to copy or plagiarize, because that's the one that used to say is another ring announcer that we all know, and but somebody's always going to go, and we know who said that. I just can't think of it right now.
No, a lot of people say that. I don't think anybody's coined that phrase.
I know, but anyway, what I like about this, when you have an undefeated record, and I did through my first 18 pro fights, you have a feeling of instability. You have a humbling feeling. You do your best, but you really are going to go in that ring, and you've done it before, and you're going to dig down no matter what you're going to enter and face that night. You're going to pull it out, and you're going to and leave that ring with your hand up in the air. And so when you have that kind of mentality, that mindset, that gut instinct, and that warrior kind of appeal, again, we have 2 undefeated fighters, 2 champions entering the ring when fighters collide, and this is going to bring a lot of pride, a lot of experience, and a lot of joy to the one victor who has his hand raised in the end. But that's why it's going to be a fight, because these guys have been able to come back against adversity, and they've always risen to the occasion to become a victor. So that's why you're going to see, unless it's a clean-cut knockout, cold, boom, you're going to see these guys wanting to fight their heart out. And that's why I do anticipate a very good fight. But as I said, I do believe Triple G will be the victor. And that's it. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good fight.
It's going to be a good fight, but I think a lot of people share your opinion. Got a couple more emails. This one's from my man Brett. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal. He says, I personally think that Triple G will not get the credit he deserves if he knocks out Brook. The reason I think is the case is because the naysayers will say he beat up a built-up welterweight and not a true middleweight. He says, heck, I wouldn't be surprised if the naysayers say that Brook was running from and ducking Spence Jr. because Brook knew that he would be as mandatory that he went up to middleweight. Sounds ludicrous, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's mentioned. He says, not to mention that Brook is from the UK and not very well known over here. Triple G would probably get more credit if he beat Danny Jacobs to unify some of the belts because he's known much more over here in the North America. Actually, the only belt he doesn't have is the WBO. He does have the Super WBA, and Danny Jacobs, I think, just has the regular one. But we all do want to see Danny Jacobs get slapped around because he's really fought nobody. He's the Deontay Wilder of the middleweight division. But anyway, he says on another note, I wasn't surprised at all when I found out that Bob Arum and Top Rank are going to take care of the Pac-Man Vargas pay-per-view when no announcement for Showtime was made within the first week or two. I knew that Arum would keep it in the house. I'm also curious as to the announcing team that Arum said he's put together and will astound us. Maybe, BC, just to spite you, they'll put in Ronaldo, Jacobs, Hunter, and Jones Jr. Now, ain't that an all-star cast? He's laughing at me. I hope he doesn't put Ronaldo. Every guy that he mentioned there are like my, And Roy Jones Jr. was good for a while, but I just can't stand when he talks about himself. But Virgil Hunter, Danny Jacobs, they shouldn't even... and Ronaldo, everybody knows how I feel about him. Anyway, he says also thanks for the shout-out for Melinda on the show and the compliments on us as a family. We appreciate it much. He says the boys get a kick out of watching the show in your animated faces and listening to Sal chuckling in the background. We appreciate
Like
the email, Brett, and we're glad to have you interacting with the show. And I agree with Brett. I don't think Triple G will get the credit. One last email here. This one's from Vin. He says, "Hey guys, I'm giving Triple G full credit if he wins over Brook. The tail of the tape shows both guys are the same size. Triple G has a 1-inch advantage in height and reach, but Brook has had a tad more muscle mass." In an interview with Eddie Hearn said Brook would have to seriously drain himself to make welter. He said that Brook could only spar in 4-round sessions per day and would balloon up into the 160s on fight night. Brook is not gaining weight for this fight. He's simply not draining himself. I bet, and Dax Khan had said that a couple of weeks ago.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah,
Good
Dax said that a couple of weeks ago on the show. Yeah. But he says, I bet both Brook and Triple G will weigh between 165 and 169 on fight night. I also believe we'll see the best of Kell Brook since he was able to focus more on boxing during camp versus losing weight. He says he's very much excited for this fight. And I've always said that about Floyd. Here I am giving Floyd accolades again. Floyd always stays in pretty close to fighting weight, so he never really has to focus on losing weight during the training camp. He focuses on his game plan. Well, I agree with Vin that Kell Brook has had a long time to focus on a training camp and not so much weight. I do also believe that the weight on fight night will be between 165 and 169 for Triple G. But I have a feeling Kell Brook is going to weigh a little more. I have a feeling Kell Brook might push 173, 175. So that's what we got there. I got some final quotes that I wanted to... one thing I wanted to mention that I believe that I forgot about here with one of the comments from Brett was, it was announced yesterday that, officially announced that Bob Arum and Top Rank will be offering the Manny Pacquiao-Jesse Vargas fight as a pay-per-view themselves, as Top Rank. Now, if everybody remembers, this is the way boxing used to be. Don King was the guy that first started doing this, and, King Vision, and they offered the production of these pay-per-view or closed-circuit events, and the people were able to buy it directly. Well, when the cable networks started doing it, it made life a little easier for the promoter, but it also cost them almost as much as 10% that the fighters would lose and the promoters would lose. But because promoters became extremely lazy and just wanted to sit back and collect the money, they let it all happen. So in a way, HBO's refusal to pick up this fight, and surprisingly enough, just like Brett said, I'm really shocked that Showtime didn't jump in and take it, because Bob Arum was certainly ready to work with them. I think that at the end of the day, maybe this was a good move for the sport of boxing, getting it back to the days that we really liked. The promoter may be forced to put on much better overall pay-per-views to ensure them of making a profit, not just getting a percentage and then fall behind the cable companies to let them promote it, via their subscribers. So good old-fashioned promotion. Could it be making a comeback, Sal?
Oh, boy, I'll tell you, I sure hope so, because, we look, that's what we call the grassroots. You start, you go to the fundamentals, the basics that you build on and that you built from. And I think that old kind of good old promotion is a long time overdue. And as you were saying, Don King was a master of that. He was one of the last of the great era of promoters on that level.
No doubt. Got some quotes, and then we'll open up the phone lines. Kell Brook, the special one, says, when he feels the power that I have, that's going to be a strong, powerful, and quick middleweight hitting him, not a welterweight. I'm going to put it all together. Triple G is Mike Tyson. People have lost before they even get in the ring with him. I'm not interested in what he's going to do. I'm focused on what I need to do to win. I'm happy with the decision to make this an enormous fight, and the sold-out crowd and the viewing figures on TV will prove that this is a massive fight. Everyone in boxing knows that I'm a big guy. People who don't know think that the weight is going to be an issue. I'm more vicious in sparring when I am around 160 pounds or coming down from heavier than that. That's where I'm healthy, and in training, I can give so much more output in the gym, and it means that the full 100% will be coming from me during this fight. I'm going to follow the greats and make history, the likes of Felix Trinidad, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard. He even mentions Floyd Mayweather here, but I don't know about that. Manny Pacquiao have all moved through the weights and proved that they are greats at all. That they're great at all weights. There's a small window of opportunity to do something special, and I'm going to take my chance to prove that I'm a special fighter. With all those names, with the exception of Mayweather, they all did challenge themselves and take on super challenges like Kell Brook is. That's my knock on Mayweather. I'm not arguing his talent because he certainly has it. I think that we as boxing fans were deprived of the best Mayweather. I don't think we've ever seen and never will get to see the best Floyd Mayweather Jr. because he didn't challenge himself, and that's my biggest hang-up with him. But pretty right on quotes from Kell Brook. He sounds, or at least is playing the game, that he's extremely confident. Triple G says, I'm excited to be here. I want to thank my team, my managers, the promoter. Thanks to the Jordan family and all my Kazakhstan partners. I feel great. I like London. It's a beautiful city. I respect Kell Brook and his team. I know he understands for both of us that this is a big fight. He looks ready. I'm ready. It's a big gift for boxing fans, not just in the UK, but for all boxing fans. Kell Brook is a good boxer, and I respect him for taking his fight. He is more than ready. He's an undefeated champion. This will be my biggest fight of my career. He's coming up from welter, so his speed will be a new test for me. That's a realistic statement for Triple G, too. He hasn't experienced a guy with the hand speed that Kell Brook should be bringing on Saturday. He says, I hope our styles match well to give the fans a present. I want to produce a dramatic show, and that's why I have come to London.
Well, I'll tell you that Billy, I'm excited. I mean, that's the mentality of true warriors, both of them. And I'm telling you, I just can't wait.
No, it's going to be a good fight. Phone lines are open, 845-228-8710. 845-228-8710. Give us your thoughts, final thoughts on Triple G, Kell Brook. Let's talk a little football real quick. So far this year, I'm 3 for 3, 100%. And this is what I like this week. I have two plays for you guys. I have one in the college football ranks, and I have one in the NFL. In the college, in the Navy-UConn game, all right? UConn is 11-2 in the last 13 games if you played the under, okay? 11-2 if you play the under in that one. All right. Now, Navy, on the other hand, is 11-2 straight up in their last 13 games. Navy's home in this game, and I'll give you a little tidbit on this game. The line started out with Navy being a 7.5-point favorite. The line has dropped down now to 4-point favorite. Now, typically when you see a movement like that, that means that the Vegas odds makers are adjusting the line because of all the money that is coming in on the opposite side, which in this case is UConn. All right. I think that Navy is a very strong team. I think that they did very well last year. And they're home, and in lieu of some political things going on today, especially with some protest, not standing for the national anthem, et cetera, I'm expecting a big game from Navy. So my pick officially in the college ranks is Navy minus the 4. I think that in this case, anybody that was waiting to play this game and you liked Navy like me, having the points go down, I'm bucking the system, and I'm taking Navy minus the 4. Now, over in the NFL, there's a lot of tough games to look at, but the one that catches my eye is the Eagles-Browns game. Now, FYI, the Browns are a weak team, and they have been, and it's indicative when you look at the fact that they're the long shot to win the Super Bowl. But an amazing stat has been taking place over the last 2 weeks. A lot of people are putting some money on the Browns to win it all. Now, this could have to do with the fact that it's a 251 underdog, so if you put a couple of bucks on it, you're in place to really make out. Right now, the Eagles, just a little FYI for you, they're 3-1 in their last 4 games against AFC teams. The Browns, they don't fare too well against the spread in their season openers because in their last 16 years, they're 3 wins, 12 losses, and 1 tie against the spread. Despite that, and the fact that RG3 is making a start for the Browns and so much getting a second chance in his NFL football life, and the fact that the Eagles, they're still reeling from what's been going on with that team for the last couple of years. My official NFL pick is the Browns. Take the Browns plus the 5 points. I think the Browns are going to win the game, but I'm taking the Browns. So my 2 picks this week is Navy in college minus the 4 against UConn, and the Browns in an upset over the Eagles. Browns plus the 5. So good luck to everybody that listens to me on that. I'm here with Sal, and we got somebody on the line right now. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Billy? It's Joel.
Oh, Joel, I didn't recognize the number. How you doing, man? What's your
Hey, what's up,
what's your
guys?
final thoughts on the
Billy,
Triple G?
Do you stay up for the Sunday night game for the next 16 weeks, or is that too late for you?
I stay up. I'm a football
Yeah,
guy.
I know you're an early guy. You go to sleep early, so I was wondering because I know you're a big football fan.
He may be a grandfather, but he's very alert at night.
What's your final predictions, Joel? Triple G Kell Brook.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't really put too much thought to it. I mean, I've got a lot going on right now this week, but I'd like to see Triple G stop him, but I think he's going to win a lopsided decision. What is your thing? What is your thought? You think he's going to win a decision too?
I think Triple G is going to stop him, and I'm like Sal. I think that this fight won't go 8 rounds. So yeah, I'm picking Triple G officially by stoppage.
The reason I called today, I wanted to ask you about the New York insurance policy thing going on. Is that related to the Magomed Abdul-Salamov fight when he fought Perez? Is that why the insurance costs for fighters are going to be so high going forward?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the driving factors in it. It's not a realistic approach. And this is when we were talking about this earlier in the week, or maybe it was late last week. I actually forget. This is the problem, in my opinion, when people that don't know the sport are making the decisions for the sport. Boxing is the only sport that you're able to get involved in it at a high level with virtually no experience in the sport. I mean, you're this show right now. I mean, there's a lot of idiots that make stupid statements like, we don't know boxing, because we don't agree with someone. But I mean, Sal's a former professional top 10 contender fighter. I mean, I've been involved in the business for over 35 years, and I fought on an amateur level. Never anything to the level Sal did. But trust me, we're 2 guys that are boxing people. And the truth of the matter is it's the only sport that allows someone with no background in the sport of boxing at all to actually be a trainer. I mean, if you pay, Coach will back me up on this. If you pay the $25 or $50, whatever the commission fee is that you're at, you could be the chief second. You could be the trainer for the fight. It could be a title fight, and you could have never put on a glove. You could have never even read a book about boxing, and you would be labeled as the chief second. So the moral of the story is, guys like that who happen to be running the commission right now, making an outrageous, decision like requiring $1 million projection of a possible injury down the road is ridiculous. It's not. It just doesn't make sense. Not to mention, up to date. I talked to several promoters in New York over the last 2 days. And to date, there is not an insurance carrier that even will pick up that insurance. They won't write it. So, very stupid move on the state of New York. If they just wanted to outlaw boxing, they should have just come out and said, we're dissolving boxing in the state of New York. Go fight somewhere else. So that's my thought.
Well, what about UFC though? Like UFC, and there's another promotion called World Series of Fighting. They're both coming to, I think World Series of Fighting is coming to the theater, Madison Square Garden, on the 30th, and UFC will be there in the middle of November for a big pay-per-view. Are their insurance costs going to be different? I mean, I know it's a new thing, so I'm not sure. I don't know anything about that, but I was wondering if you knew anything, if they're going to have to follow those rules, or the rules are going to be different because it's a different sport.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see, because in every other commission that I know of, a lot of the stuff is the same. And I would find it as an opening for a lawsuit if I'm a boxing promoter and the state of New York allows a MMA event to take place and does not require the same insurance policies that they're forcing a boxing promoter to have. Now I do know that boxing and wrestling in the state of New York fall under the same commission, and so does MMA fighting, but they're like a different department. And with wrestling, they do have different rules, but it's a different sport. Curious to see, and I'm going to be real curious to see if those events still go off, because this was a new policy. Those were scheduled prior to the making and signing and making this policy active, so it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know the full answer on that, but it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to open up a can of worms if they let them do it without the same policy in place.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I was thinking while you were saying that to me is about different departments. I also do wonder if there's going to be a double standard, because I wonder if New York thinks, oh, wow, UFC, it's a big deal. There's a lot of hype around pay-per-view coming in November. It's going to be a sellout. If they'll say, okay, it was $1 million for boxing promoters, but we'll make it half that. You think there's a possible double standard there because there's so much hype around the event, or the commissions don't care?
First of all, there's more grounds for a lawsuit. You know what? You're gonna be prejudiced from one sport to another. I know for a fact that the state of Florida used to have two different expenses for an MMA event and a boxing event, and the powers that be from the MMA side complained that it was not fair. So the commission had to rechange it. So now that promotion cost is the same, and they raised it for both, but it's the same. So like I said, again, when you have people that don't know the sports and they're making decisions, they're not making educated decisions. They're making political decisions. It's true. I don't even mean it as a joke. It's true. These guys need to know what the hell they're doing. Could you imagine if the NFL or Major League Baseball or NBA tried to do something without people that know those sports and been part of those sports for a long time? Come on. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. It makes a lot of sense. And lastly, I just want to ask Sal. Sal, what is your thought on the fight tomorrow? Who do you agree with Billy? You going to see it going less than 8 rounds, or what's your thought on that? I think it's a great card overall, too, guys. I mean, if you look at some of the off-TV fights, you got Lee Haskins, like on Philly C Challenge, Callum Smith, John Riel Casimero. I mean, that's a pretty strong card. I forgot these fights were on there, but I'm going to try to find a stream to watch them. But yeah, back to that, Sal. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be a stoppage for Triple G?
Yes, I do. I think in the end, Triple G will be the victor, and he will win by dropping Kell Brook and either knocking him out or at least having referees intervene and stop the fight. I feel that way. That was my initial gut instinct. I love what Kell Brook is trying to do and his mentality and mindset. He's a warrior, and I think it's good for boxing. But I just think, he's got any given night. I always say this, Joel, any given night, a fighter can be beaten. And it just depends. But you see these guys that are so passionate about their craft. And like I said, these are both two undefeated fighters. They haven't tasted defeat on a professional level. And they're both not looking to taste it for the first time either for tomorrow night. So that's going to make it a great fight.
That's right.
And everybody talks about how, Kell Brook is a bigger frame on some level. But, Triple G is 5'10.5". That's a pretty damn big size middleweight.
You're damn right.
All right,
guys
Joe.
are right.
He just fights crouched down a little bit. That's his style, and that's what makes him so elusive and hard to hit. So I'm so excited about this fight because these are the kind of things that boxing really needs. And what I'm talking about is the warrior's mentality, the mindset. Take no prisoners mentality. And guess what? They're doing it while they're complimenting each other. They know that they're going in a ring with probably the best in each division, and two of the most popular fighters that face each other right now.
That's true. That's very true, and it's going to be a good fight. Billy, I'll let you go. I don't want to take up your time. I will try to listen tomorrow. I got a UFC pay-per-view on, so I might be distracted with that. But nonetheless, I will try to tune in, and regardless, I'll listen to it on demand on YouTube. But I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the football, you two, and enjoy the boxing, and I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right, man. Have a great one. Enjoy the fight.
Thank you, Joel.
Thanks so much. Take care, guys. Be well. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
You know, all this time, Sal, I'm saying that Triple G isn't a big middleweight, and I still don't really think he is. I know he's 5'10" and a half. That's the official size on him, but it's not like he balloons up to 180 pounds.
Well, Billy, you're so right, and what you said earlier is so right on. I mean, when I was 163 pounds, walking around, and I had to get down to 135, and that's after I left the junior lightweight division, 130. I spent half my time in camp just peeling off that damn weight and dry it out.
But you see, that's what a lot of fighters that do that. And, generally, you're not going to get a 3-month window where you're gonna know that you got a fight coming up, and you have a month and a half to lose the weight, and then a month and a half to focus on the fight. Typically, they got, if you're lucky, you get 4 or 5 weeks. So if you stay in shape and then you focus on the game plan, you're in much better position. I mean, here I've been giving Floyd all these accolades, but that's one thing that has helped him with his success. There's a guy that really doesn't get out of shape, and Triple G's the same. He doesn't balloon up, So I mean, these guys get to focus on the fight coming up instead of not eating and losing weight and all of that stuff. But we got Dax on the line, man. What's your final thoughts on this fight, brother?
Well, looking at this, right now, Triple G does not look very good.
Oh, boy.
What?
What did you see?
What do you got, a crystal ball?
I don't know.
Wait a minute. Look, I better. My bookie. I better call my bookie. What are you talking about?
What do you mean he's not looking good? He got a little acne? What's going on?
There was rumors that he was drained, which of course he isn't. That was something that was sent out by Kell Brook's people. It was a week ago. He was only 162.5 pounds, so obviously he isn't drained. But when he was on the scales, he looks very pale. And yesterday I was seeing some pictures of him, and his skin coloring is off. A lot of people now are under the assumption that he has the flu or something. He doesn't look very strong, and he looks drawn out. And he's not he's not drawn out due to weight loss, but he might have caught some type of bug or a virus. The official weights are in.
You gonna give them to us, or you just
gonna say what's next?
listen. All right, because Bill, don't get me going today. You're talking about the boxing people, and you guys or whichever. I'll give you guys a couple of nicknames here. If you want to harass me on a Friday,
just give us the weights, Dax. Come on, what are you trying to do? Please give us the weights, Dax. Don't make me go and look myself. Just give us the weights. Now all of a sudden you need something from Dak, and he's a good guy. But anyway. No, we never. I didn't say that. Did you? Did you say that? I didn't say that, Sal. Did you?
Actually, Kell Brook came in heavier. Kell Brook came in at 159.4, and Golovkin 158.8.
Wow.
You see, now, I've always said this about Triple G. I mean, he's not a big middleweight. He's not, but you're thinking he looks a little sick. I mean, he's not exactly got a nice olive complexion. He is kind of pasty white, but you think...
No, compared to usual, he does. He really does look a little bit drawn out. He looks a little thin in the face. So he might have some sort of flu. When you look in his eyes, he doesn't have that sparkle in his eyes. He looks, a little bit tired. That's not making an excuse for what happens, but win or lose. But point of the matter is, he doesn't look his normal self.
Huh.
Well, hopefully, if you had to bet $10,000 on it, Dax, where would you put your money?
Right now, it might be even.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't think like Bill said. It might be a sucker. Bill said about that football game yesterday. This might be a sucker's bet.
So we put $5,000 on Kell Brook, $5,000 on Triple G.
Hey,
What the
no. You see, you can't even do that with boxing because whatever it is, I think it was like a 60-1 or something like that. So you'd have to put $600 or to win 100 on Kell Brook. On Triple G.
And so some other weights in, Lee Haskins came in at 117 pounds. Stuart Hall was 116.5. Callum Smith was 165.8. Both John Real Casimiro and Charlie Edwards both came in at 111 pounds. Norbert Nemasani was 165.8. Andy Townsend was 130.2, as was Martin Joseph Ward. So, those are the weights for tomorrow's main fights.
Well, good. That like Joel said, that's a decent card, and then it's followed up with the Chocolito fight, which everybody's looking forward to too. And then next week we got some good fights. But Dax, what's your official prediction right now?
My official pick, the common sense would say go with Golovkin, and it might not even be a knockout. I think it's going to be a decision. I think that Kell Brook is going to have some early success, and then after that, I think Golovkin is going to catch up with him, and that's when the knockout is going to come as he breaks down that body. Looking at the history of both guys, Kell Brook has a fantastic jab, but Golovkin's jab is also equally, if not more, impressive. But what really makes Golovkin's jab impressive is a lot like Klitschko. A Golovkin jab is the power punch of many guys. And when Golovkin uses that jab properly, and then he works that body, I don't care how much muscle you put on there. When Golovkin reaches around and he hits you in that liver, you're going to go down. He has superhuman power in that left hand and the right hand. But, the way I've seen guys drop in the past, guys just as, if not bigger than Kell Brook, there's no way I can see Kell Brook dealing with that, considering the fact that irregardless of what's taking place in sparring, when it comes to that time in the ring with those regulation gloves on there, he's never absorbed the type of power that Triple G can deliver. Not many have, and that's why so many have fallen to him so far.
Good points. Well, I'm sure we're going to be able to have you come on after the fight tomorrow for our post-fight show and give us your thoughts, right?
Absolutely. What really in this fight that is amazing to me is more fights like this. Without pay-per-views, fights like this can actually bring boxing to its heyday. The amount of attention that this fight has garnered worldwide, and almost no negative type of feedback, and the fact that people are going to be able to watch this on HBO. I haven't seen, Mayweather and Pacquiao, maybe, of course, they received more attention for their fight because of the long build-up, but if those two fights were side by side at the same time, I actually believe there'd have been equal attention. There has been nothing, whether it's websites, fan blogs, social media, you name it, all this week, everybody's mouth has been saying nothing but Triple G and Brook, and that tells you how much attention both guys are bringing to not only this fight but to the sport itself, and this is what we need more of.
No, that's a great point.
I agree with you 100% there.
Yeah,
that's so true.
Great point.
And the non-pay-per-views. Bill, you mentioned you guys were just speaking about a little while ago about the New York State with the $1 million policies, and that in the last few days, I've spoken to several people, and I was surprised at how many people didn't know. I had actually two people asking me, when's the next time either one of us was going to be up at the Turning Stone? And I told them, there aren't any more fights, for the rest of 2016 scheduled in New York, and as of right now, there's none scheduled in 2017.
Well, wait.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people are shocked about this new policy, and the fact that New York doesn't have any fights scheduled. And some people are starting to get nervous, as you stated several times. Is boxing in New York going to be over?
Well, just remember something. The Turning Stone is not subject to the state of New York's athletic commission. So if we do have fights in the state, and they come to a place like Turning Stone, those fights become subject to the Native American Indian Commission, which is up there. Theirs, I believe, is the Oneonta Nation, I believe. I get those confused. There's a couple of them close together, but so that could be a big opening for some of these other sites to become home to fights. There's the one in Queens. That you got the one in Turning Stone. They're building one in Schenectady. You got one out in going towards Buffalo there, Niagara. You don't know, but we're talking about other venues in the state of New York, so it's going to be interesting to see. But you're right, there are none, and I'm dying to wait to see what happens with the point that Joel brought up about MMA, because I would think that they would have to fall subject to the same thing.
Well, as I think you spoke off the phone before, the day that they put this rule into place, that morning before they actually announced it, I was with somebody, who was involved in the commission, and he was going down there, and he kind of hinted towards something bad happening in the sport, and he wouldn't he wouldn't release the exact details, but he said, I was ready for MMA to take place. I had a lot of fighters excited to come here for the first time, and yet right now I really think it's not going to happen. And I was like, why do you think that? He goes, well, I don't want to say, I can't say anything right now, but I'm telling you, this isn't good, and I have a feeling by the time I'm done with this meeting, I'm going to walk away from the sport.
Yeah, well, he was probably referring to exactly what's taking place now. Something's going to have to be done. They haven't found an insurance company willing to write it yet, so we'll see what happens. But, Dax, we're going to try to grab another caller or two before we pack it in today. So I'll be looking forward to you tomorrow when we do our post-fight show, my man.
All right, everybody. Enjoy the fights. Talk to you soon.
Dax, you too, buddy. Thank you.
We do want to take another caller or two. So please, if you have a quick comment, give us a call, 845-228-8710. I know there was a couple of people trying to call in. While we're on, we're only going to take one at a time. But Sal, Dax makes an interesting point about Triple G possibly not being 100%. Let me ask you, if you were in arguably the biggest fight of your career, or progression as your career is progressing along, and you're in a huge fight, and you weren't 100%, and this goes back to our discussion many times over the Manny Pacquiao injury with the Floyd Mayweather fight, would you cancel the fight?
You're talking about something developed. If it's not 3 to 6 weeks outside the fight, and it's something, if you get a little sniffle, a little cold, you're going to beat it in a couple days or a week. But if you're not 3 to 6 weeks outside of the fight, and it is something, if it's detrimental, if it's very bad, you could assess it. But if it's something that occurs within the frame of the tightening up for the last couple of weeks of the fight, it's hard. I never cancel a fight that far out or that close in, and I've fought with a little sniffles, a little cold. If I had a sudden flu and I couldn't, fortunately I was not open or subjected to that element. But so it's subject to that individual and the mentality of a warrior. What is he going to do now? If he's
Sal, hold that thought. Sal, hold the thought. We got somebody on the line now. Is this Coach?
Hey, no, it's Jesse from Long Island.
Hey, Jesse from Long Island. How you doing, man? I saw the Long Island number. I thought maybe Coach was giving us a call. Jesse, what's on your mind, man? What's your final thoughts on the Triple G Kell Brook fight?
I think you guys called it perfectly. Triple G in 6, 7, or 8. I mean, around there. I can't see no way that Kell Brook wins this fight. Although I do like the fight. I like the matchup. I'm going to be excited to watch it tomorrow. But I don't see any way that Kell Brook actually wins this fight.
I tell you, if Dax was right, and I was just asking Sal his thoughts about if Triple G wasn't 100%, maybe if Triple G isn't 100%, maybe if he does feel a little drained, maybe he tries to end it a little quicker, and maybe this fight only goes a couple of rounds. I don't know, but Kell Brook, I think he's a live underdog in this fight. I am like both of you guys. I'm picking Triple G in this fight. But I think Kell Brook is a live underdog. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. I really do.
I got a future prediction for you, underdog one. I got Jesse Vargas over Pacquiao.
That's a 50. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. That's a 50-50 fight, man. You know, Jesse Vargas is not an easy opponent for Manny Pacquiao. So, hey, you know, I mean, that's a good one. I haven't seen what the odds are, but that is a good one to play because, you know, Manny Pacquiao's got so many other things going on, like he always does. But Jesse Vargas is young and hungry, and he's been in with some tough guys, so it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for taking the call, Billy. Man,
right.
I'll be tuning in tomorrow night and hopefully calling in. And yeah, man, Triple G.
Okay, thanks, Jesse. You know,
Jesse.
that's one of. I can't stand when those things happen, but obviously he couldn't get it. We have, we just had somebody else on the line, but I lost him. But, you know, that makes me, thanks for the call, Jess. And that makes me wonder about what we were saying to you about, you know, if you have a sniffle, you know, do you fight? And if he is not 100% and feeling that he can't let the promotion down, let the fight down, let the fans down, do you try to end the fight early, Sal?
Yes, you do, and yes, I have been in that position. You know, you have a little sniffles. You know, like I said, a lot of times the old school trainers would call you, Sal, you're looking a little peaked. It means maybe your color is a little flusher, this and that. And that's either from overtraining, draining, or whatever. But you work through it again. You know, it's funny, Bill, because I look at the mentality and the mindset of where I was and fought and what the environment was like when I fought. And you're never going in the ring at 100%. You know, you're coming out of 50, 60, 100 rounds of sparring, prepping over 8 weeks or whatever the heck. You might have a hurt knuckle, a bruised knuckle. You might have shin splints from running. You might have... You're not 100%. There's something there, but you're not going to cancel a fight. And you know you're going to be 100% for what you're going into the ring that night. That was my mentality. You know, whether I even fought in the ring when I just came off of a cut that I got 2-3 weeks earlier, and they put a couple stitches in to heal it up. Fortunately, it stayed closed.
You know, Sal, every so often, you know, when I come down to your restaurant and stuff, you know, I always notice something about everybody that's working there. You know, they love watching the Sal TV that you have on all day long. Between that and the Frank Sinatra music, I just wish we could get somebody on the line right now to tell us what they think about listening to Frank Sinatra over and over and watching Sal's fights over and over. Oh, wait. We might have somebody on the line right now. Is this you, Max?
This is Max, yes.
This is the guy.
Wow, that's Max Williams.
This is my man.
What are you doing there, buddy? You're prepping that dough?
This is the guy. This is the guy that carries Sal. Everybody, you hear me talking about Sal's place all the time, and we're always giving Sal the accolades, but on the phone right now is my man, Max, who's really the backbone of Sal's restaurant. Max, glad you got through. What's your thoughts on all of this stuff, brother?
Max.
Man, I'm looking at Triple G's. Let's do this around the 9th round. It might go a little bit of the distance, but I think Triple G will actually take him.
Hey, you know, Sal told me that you thought that the Carolina Panthers were going to win last night. I tried telling you. I hope you didn't bet any pizza money on that game.
I didn't bet no money, but I was that shank field goal just kind of took my hope away.
Now you know how I felt when the Giants won, because I'm a Jets fan, of course, and I am not a big Giant fan at all. I actually hate them. And Buffalo missed that field goal to give the Giants a Super Bowl win. So field goals aren't gimmies, especially in college. How about the Dogs last week?
You know, it's like Adam Sandler said. He did that song. It's the lonely field goal kicker. You know,
they all move away. They move away from before the kick, and if he misses the kick, they're not going to be near him until the following week. You know, but
your job might be on the line next day. Who knows?
That's right. That's right. But
hey, those Dogs, man, those Dogs. I tell you what, they played good last week, but they got to do better with the defense. You can't give up that many points in a game.
I agree, and I thought that the defense would be the backbone of that team, and I don't think they've reached their potential yet. But, geez, that running back, man, 222 yards. I mean,
hey, Nick Chubb is the guy, but you can't depend on him all the time for offense either.
One injury.
Eventually, the other defenses are going to start shutting him down.
Well, they tried shutting him down, and hopefully that opens up some other stuff like it kind of did in the game last week. But you just got to keep him healthy. You know, one injury, and he's coming off an ACL injury, isn't he?
Yeah, he's coming off that serious ACL that he just had repaired, and you just got to hope they don't push him too hard and he ends up re-injuring that knee. God, don't let that happen. Yeah,
that changes everything around. So you guys got to sneak in and maybe change the CD at the restaurant when Sal's not looking.
Hey.
So.
Let me tell you something, Bill, too. We pride ourselves, well, I pride myself. We've had WSAL, Sal TV, playing 24/7 with the endless loop of our fights and everything else. But, I've changed that. I've manned up and humbled up, and I'm paying almost $300 a month just to show regular TV, college football, sports games, and local things. And so
we've been watching PBC boxing. We've been doing college football. We've been doing NFL football. We've been doing the Yankees on there. We don't show much Mets. I mean, I'm sorry.
The
Yankees are a little bit better to me.
You got to show the Mets. They're the better New York team. But
you
know what? Hey, Max, what finally got Sal to change the channel was he finally found out that everybody was going in the back, dousing themselves with gasoline, begging each other to light them with a match, right? I mean, they just couldn't take it anymore. It
wasn't the gasoline; it was the grappa. We were just dousing ourselves with grappa, getting ready.
Well, it's like when every single employee can recite word for word every Frank Sinatra song and Sal's whole boxing career, they've seen it a few times, right?
That's like my ex-girlfriend waking me up in my sleep, asking me why do I keep singing "That's Amore."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Well, listen, Max, I appreciate you getting through. We'll look forward to you another time. You give us your thoughts maybe after the fights tomorrow or sometime next week.
All right, brother. Good to call in. Y'all guys have a good day. I'll see you soon, Sal.
All right. Take it easy, Max.
All right. Bye.
Good stuff from the backbone of Sal's restaurant.
Mac's a great guy. And, he's a warrior. And you know what? In my mind, he's also a hero. He's a Marine. He did several tours to Iraq, and I'll tell you, he was a Marine sniper. So I know he's been in the trenches literally.
Well, when I found out he was a Marine, because I said to him, when we were hanging your big screen in there, I said to Max, I go, Max, how the hell are you so patient with Sal? I go, Sal, I would be ready to stab Sal when he turned around, And he looked at me calmly after all of that. Oh, no, it looks a little crooked. Oh, no, that screw can't go there. Oh, I got to go get, oh, wait a minute, I got to go. Oh, hold on, let's take it out of the box. Oh, wait, you got to move that chair. Oh, wait, hold on. After all of that,
sound like me.
Max says, he looks at me calmly and says, I was a Marine. So I knew that Max was very well trained in, just grinning and bearing it and following instructions, and that's the end of that. But we got our trivia question here, Sal, and the trivia question is a tough one. It was, what former world champion in his first pro fight defeated a man he would later beat for the world championship? Now, I'm looking to get the first correct answer, and you'll win a prize if you email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing. Now, I am going to give you two hints. One was the same hint I gave you yesterday. This guy's career was between 1940 and 1970. And the other hint I'm going to give you, now you already know by the question that he fought the guy that he defeated, that he fought in his first pro fight that he defeated for championship later on. So you could figure out that he fought this guy at least twice, right? Well, I'm going to give you a hint. He fought him more than two times. More than two times. So these two guys fought more than twice. And he fought between 1940 and 1970, would former world champion in his first pro fight, defeated a man he would later beat for the world championship, and these two guys fought more than twice. If you're the first one to email me, Billy at Talkin' Boxing, TalkinBoxing.com, you'll win a prize. And Sal, on this day, September 9th, in 1992, Morris East knocks out Kanobu Haraka in the 11th round to win the WBA World Junior Welterweight title. And guess where that fight took place?
New York.
No, Japan. Japan.
I know that,
Come on.
I know that.
On this day in the year 2000, Derek Gainer knocks out Freddie Norwood in the 11th round to win the WBA featherweight title. Took place in New Orleans. On this day in 2000, Willie Durin wins a 12-round decision over Michael Brody to win the vacant WBC junior featherweight title. Took place in Manchester, England. On this day in 1935, Benny Lynch knocks out Jackie Brown in the second round to win the NBA World Flyweight title, and that took place in Manchester, England as well. On this day in 1905, Battlein Nelson knocks out Jimmy Britt in the 18th round to win the world lightweight title, and took place in Colma, California. And on this day, September 9th, in 1983, one of your favorites, Sal, Aaron the Hawk Pryor knocks out Alexis Arguello in the 10th round to retain his WBA World Junior Welterweight title, and that took place in Las Vegas. Arguello drops to 74-7 as the Hawk remained undefeated after this win, 34-0. That wraps up what took place on this day in boxing history. And Sal, I know I've gotten your final predictions on the fight for tomorrow between Kell Brook and Triple G. Will you be able to watch the fight and join us for the post-fight show?
Absolutely. I have HBO here at the house. I'm going to try and bring it in. I got to find out, make some phone calls if they could turn it on in my pizzeria. That would be great, but I know there's going to be some hoops and stuff I might have to jump over with that.
Yeah, probably several thousand hoops that you're going to have to jump through, because they do the same thing as the pay-per-view. You have to go by what the maximum amount of people that could fit in your place, and then they charge you accordingly. So you're probably better off running home. You're not that far. Watch the fight, and then join
we'll do
us.
this show right after. I got the computer here. We'll do it.
Sounds good. Hey, listen, make sure you guys tune in to the fight tomorrow, and ultimately after the fight, remember that the fight is early. It starts around 5 p.m. Eastern Time on HBO, so tune in to the Triple G Kell Brook fight. And then as soon as that fight is over, as soon as the official announcement is made, approximately 6 minutes, tune it in right here for the Billy C. Triple G Kell Brook post-fight show. And we'll be opening up the phone lines and taking callers one at a time for a while. So make sure you do that. So until then, enjoy the fights, and make sure you tune in after our post-fight show. Make sure you tune in Monday morning, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.